All right, guys, and welcome to another live. So I hope everybody's having a great weekend. So another live. Actually, I think this is my fifth or sixth live. So I'm basically in quarantine because somebody asked me, Nick, you don't look sick. Are you sick? No, I'm in quarantine for 2 weeks because I just came back from training the defensive tactics of the Boston Police. I was teaching an instructor course in edged weapon and close quarter, mostly knife, and basically edged weapons, everything from a knife to a machete to two knives, just basically going through a complete 2-day training of, being faced in full out against a knife, and again, close quarter, gun versus knife, and just basically the entire dynamics of it. So I'm basically in quarantine for 2 weeks. And what I decided to do, Kalispera, my brother, so I'm basically going live pretty much every day until Monday. After that, my schedule is going to be jam-packed again like it used to be. So I have a little bit more time to do these lives. So if you guys have any comments, any questions, leave them in the box. I'm going to be making, I think, 2 or 3 more videos max. As well, today I'm going to be answering a question that I got. Is, Nick, what are the top 10 self-defense tips for beginners? Somebody who's never done any self-defense, you're watching this video. What are 10 things that you need to know and you want to be training, looking out for when you're faced with an attacker? But before we start, if you guys and girls want to learn more self-defense, go visit my website, nickdrossos.com. I have brand new programs, self-defense for women with Helen Stranzel, larger attacker, combat conditioning, knife defense, weapon defense, access to my seminar. I can't even tell you how many programs I have up there, guys, and how many hours of content. And it's only $10 a month. You could cancel anytime. So go check that out at nickdrossos.com. So let's get to the question, guys. So I wrote all my notes over here because I basically just wrote them down as a kind of PowerPoint with this, try to explain, okay? So I'm gonna take all your questions after, guys. So the first thing is, when I tell beginners is, the fight, a lot of the systems cover self-defense or the fight when the knife is out or when the punch is thrown or when the attack actually starts. So me, what I normally ask them is, okay, well, what happened? The guy grabbed me, he pushed me. I'm like, what happened before that? Oh, he was in my face, he was talking. What happened before that? So my first question is, when was the first time you made visual or intuitive contact? So the fight starts, the attack starts at that very moment. The moment you see or you feel something or you felt something and then you see that you're being followed or watched, that intuition that you get, right? So that's the first thing, the first step that you need to know. The fight or the attack starts the moment you make visual or intuitive contact. The second thing is when you start, maybe your attacker is approaching you, maybe is in your face, it's awareness. Being aware of your environment. So that's one question. Where am I? Who am I with? Who am I faced with? How many are they? What is the entire global picture of what's going on? And that's very important for you to assess all that before you decide to make your next move, right? So you want to look at the entire picture, because people often tell me, well, Nick, what if a guy has a knife and he comes up to you and says, give me the money, give me your money? I'm like, okay, where am I? He's like, what do you mean? In an elevator, a staircase? You're in a staircase, okay? Am I alone or am I with my son? You're with your son, okay? Is he alone or are they two? No, they're two. Okay, so each one of those, as I break them down, I need to assess almost like a computer, the level of danger, the level of threat, my chances of survival, and you got to look at all of that when you decide to make your next move, fight, or whatever it is, okay? So that's all about awareness. As well, when I talk about awareness, I talk about the attacker's awareness. right? So the first thing I do when I'm looking or talking to my attacker or potential attacker is I'm looking at his hands, shifting his weight, looking around, angling front, maybe stepping back. Why did he just take a step back? Is he getting into his range? Because he wants to have more space to get to his weapon? Is he trying to pick up something? So again, when we look at awareness, we've got to look at an overall global environment, the awareness of where I'm at the moment, where he is at, what is the entire picture as well at that moment, the awareness of his body language, because your attacker will make his intention to action, not necessarily by what he says, but what he does, right? He's gonna try to get into some kind of positioning prior to strike you. The faster you could pick up on those cues, the quicker you will be able to act or react. And instead of backpedaling or getting caught by surprise, you're actually proactive and exploding in and breaking the momentum and attacking. The next is verbal diffusion, right? How to verbally diffuse, verbally de-escalate, pattern interrupt. These are keys. Now, I've developed drills for that, and I have these in my program. It's called the Hero Program. So if you guys are interested, go check it out, nickdrossos.com. I have the Hero Program, and I've created verbal de-escalation, diffusion drills that will work your awareness at the same time as you're talking to your attacker, right? Obviously in the street, if you could diffuse, if you could walk your way and talk your way out of a fight, and I believe 90% of it you can, especially if you keep your ego in check, you don't know who you're dealing with in the street. So, I mean, always opt for that answer, always opt for that option, is talk your way out of the fight, get out of the fight, do whatever it takes not to fight. However, as I'm talking to him, I'm studying his every movement, that at any point I see him move a certain way that I'm gonna take as a threat, I'm gonna attack. Sorry guys, sometimes I get a little bit distracted because I'm getting comments. I gotta learn how to turn that off when I do my lives. But the other thing, fourth tip, always keep your hands up. Always here. Always keep your hands up. Look right from this stance to the passive stance if the person's engaged you. I want to keep my hands up so I can block, or I need to, strike as quickly as possible. I don't want to be down here. At any point, I'm here, whether I'm holding something, but the idea is that I can have my hands up to be able to block, counter, or strike as quickly as possible. Now we're going to talk about action. So, preemptive attack, right? So there's two things. I'm either going to go preemptive, or I'm going to allow him, the instant he flinches or moves, I react and come in. Obviously, me going fully preemptive is always, I have higher chances of survival. And there's no black and white. I'm always talking about, the probabilities and the possibilities. And I've talked about this. Is it probable? Yes. Is it possible? So what are my higher chances of survival? Is me going preemptive. I see the guy, I'm here, and and my intuition says, holy shit, I know this guy's about to pick a fight with me. I'm trying to defuse, it's impossible. Then I gotta go preemptive, right? So action, going preemptive, obviously is better than me waiting for him to flinch, grab a weapon, or throw the sucker punch. That would be me reacting. And as soon as I see, so I'm either gonna go preemptive, or the minute I see a certain movement that is telling me my attacker is winding up for an attack, I'm not gonna wait till the punch is here. The instant I see this, I explode in an eye attack. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the legalities right after hands, because it's a very important question to have it here. So I'm either gonna explode forward and go preemptive, or the minute I see him react, which is over here, both of them, the instant I see him do any of this movement, I explode forward and I attack, okay? What you don't want to do is keep your hands down and assume he's not going to hit you. What you don't want to do is assume that, he's not going to attack, he's not going to pull out a weapon. Again, if you look at the steps, visual intuitive contact, awareness of my space and him, trying to diffuse, I'm always keeping my hands up, and I'm ready to strike preemptively or ready to counter and step in and break the momentum before he attacks me. Always another step. I think this is, we're at 6. Always follow through. That means train not to throw 1, 3, 5 strikes. Every time I work on the bob dummy, I train to go right through the target. I also train for a good 7 to 10 shots. So every time I strike and I train on the bob dummy, I'm training from here to here to here to here to here to here. You gotta lock that shit and it's gotta be loaded. So when I'm in a passive stance or any kind of natural fighting stance, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to go, again, preemptive or ready to counter based on what he does. But once I decide to strike, you cannot strike apologetically. You don't want to strike, hit, moving back. The instant I decide to strike, I'm going to go right through the target. I'm going to explode. I'm going to go full force, and it's a full game. Game is on, right? There's no, oh, I'm not going to hit him that hard. Oh, what if I hit him hard and he hits harder? The minute you take that decision, and it's about taking a decision, and you could see that your life is in danger, or that's where you've put the risk, then you gotta go. And when you gotta go all the way, okay? So always follow through. Now we're gonna talk a little bit, I'm talking about following through, but now we're gonna talk about force versus the level of threat. So in the legal implications, the level of force that you use must parallel the amount of threat or danger you're in. So if your attacker decides to punch you and you pull out a gun and shoot him, chances are you're going to go to prison. If you pull out a knife and stab him, you're going to go to prison. So, and it's very hard to calculate in that in the moment, because I know I used to work in clubs, right? It was very hard for me to try to match the level of threat I feel I'm in, right? Especially when I know this person just went preemptive, or this person was preemptively trying to sucker punch me or get into position to attack me, right? So at some point, I'm going to explode and I'm going to attack him prior, but you got to find that perfect sweet spot timing where you could, obviously better to go preemptive, but you want to also catch him. The best time to strike the person is as the body expands. So if I catch him opening up or moving, then I could attack right at that split second. And that comes down to my level of awareness and being able to read my attacker and break that momentum by attacking. That's the best way to do it, right? So the amount of force you use must parallel the amount of danger that you're in or threat. Now, people always tell me, okay, that's the next point, right? 9 is get out, meaning, right? Once I strike him, don't take him on the ground and try to put him on don't fight with him. The difference between fighting with him and you surviving in the street is once I strike him 2, 3 times or 5 times or whatever it is, and I've created distance, and I've created a certain amount of space that allows me to escape and run, that's what you do. Because I don't want to put him on the ground and suddenly he gets an adrenaline rush and suddenly he pulls out the weapon and his friend jumps in. The fight just turned in 1 second. So once I get in there and I throw my 5, 6, 10 strikes, whatever it is, and I create distance, I'm out, right? So you want, again, and this is my last point and probably the most important, is what I'm trying to teach you and what you want to be learning is not how to fight, but how to survive. You want to fight, go to the ring. And what is the difference of fighting? The difference of fighting is I'm here and I struck him and I dropped him and now I'm trying to take him down to the ground and finish him, quote unquote, off. The longer you stay in that fight, the higher chances of you at some point being, the longer you stay in the fight, the less chance of survival. And what does that mean? The longer you stay in there, the higher chances he has of maybe pulling out a weapon, second person jumping in. You don't even know. You might be on the floor, ground and pounding this guy, and some person's walking by and thinks you're attacking him. Next thing you know, you get jumped. This has happened. So when you're looking at it, right, in terms of self-defense, especially for beginners, and when I train women and men, it's always about, you know what? Go for your preemptive attack, finish it as quickly as possible, and get out. Worst thing I used to see in clubs, I used to see fights and guys used to stick around the fight. They used to fight outside and then they would like stay there. What do you think would happen? Their friends would get out of the club. The guy would make a phone call. The next thing you know, in 1 second, the fight completely changed. The guy who beat the shit out of the other guy, suddenly he's on the ground and getting a beating. I used to say this to people. When you go to a club, if shit hits the fan, don't stick around. Get out, go to your car, and call it a night. Because after 2 o'clock, that's when all the shit happens, okay? So, again, the difference between fighting and surviving, I know when I spar with my coach, when I get to train, that's fighting. I have a specific goal. Surviving is getting out. And you know, a lot of people tell me, oh Nick, against a knife, there's nothing you could do. Great, if that's your mindset, I hope you never get attacked, and if you do, just tell your attacker, there's nothing I could do, roll on the ground and don't do nothing. However, you could give him a fight. If I'm being attacked with a knife, I might parry and strike, I might get cut, I might throw something over his head, and I might just run. Guess what? If you did that, you survived. If you did that, in my eyes and yours, it should be holy shit. You won that fight. You survived that fight. At the end, my goal as an instructor is to get you home safe to your family. With any means. That's why I teach improvised weapons. Man, it's a street. You gotta fight dirty. No such thing. Let me tell you, your attacker won't be fighting a fair fight with you. So you gotta go, and you gotta go even more aggressive than he is. You gotta be willing to go all the way when you're defending yourself, right? So you almost have to, at that very moment, do whatever it takes, and I mean whatever it takes to survive. I don't care how pretty it looks, how good it looks. So this is why I don't teach that many strikes. My system is very, very simple. In a matter of 3 to 6 months, they've shadow banned me, man. They don't promote my channel anymore. It kind of sucks, man, I know. So anyways, guys, so let me take some of your questions. So I'll start with this, only 20, yeah, they've basically shadow banned my channel for the self-defense. You've helped more mindset, you've been more help in my mind. Man, mindset is everything. What do you keep it safe in your training while you are training these what do you do to keep it safe? So that's a great question. What do I do to keep it safe? That's really hard. So what I do is I start by doing drills. I isolate and break down drills where you're gonna get, it's almost like a light sparring session, working a specific element that we're training. And then when we're doing a scenario, you at least are learning to have some certain amount of control through each part that you might be faced in your scenario. As well, when you do scenarios, I'm always there watching the scenario so I can monitor it, I can cut it. If I see any compromising position where somebody might get hurt, I stop it prior to knowing that, okay, I mean, if I struck you 1, 2, and I need you, and you're wearing a helmet and you're still fighting, I'm gonna call break. Because I know at some point, I'm gonna have to get to the point where I knock you out for you to stop, but it's unrealistic because you're wearing a helmet. And just because you're wearing a helmet doesn't mean you can't get knocked out. You're still creating this motion with the head. That's a great question. Let me just start from the beginning. 5 things to improve your... Explain to me why it doesn't work. And then, hey Nick, so I got into an argument with the Aikido student and I tried to explain him why it doesn't work. Look, you have seen these stupid step-by-step. So all these stupid step-by-step techniques, I don't teach them. If you look at my programs online, I'm not teaching 1, 2, they don't work, right? In theory they do, but when I've trained with guys who were trained like that, on all honesty, I've pretty much, I've actually tested where I said, okay, show me your knife defense technique. They're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I attack them. They're never able to pull it off because I'm not gonna react the way they're trained to follow through every time, right? So I rather train in slow, medium speed, my training, and go through full range of motion, but at a slow, medium speed, full range of motion with real intent, but nothing choreographed, where you allow the student or the trainee to work those skills, but without any memorized or patterned techniques. Again, in high stress situations, they don't work. Thank you, my man. What's up, Kareem? Wise words next, stick and move. Absolutely, man. Absolutely well said. Timing, rhythm, everything maintained. Situational awareness, guys, is key. Situational awareness is key, guys. So I talked about it before. Situational awareness is being able to assess your situation. So you gotta ask yourself prior to the fight. Look at it like a whole picture. I'm here. Where am I? What's my environment? Who am I with? Right? Who is my attacker? How many are they? Is there weapons? What is my space? In a second, you gotta, and one of the great, I was watching Equalizer 2, and I loved what he does. He always he puts his timer, which I understand why he does it, because what he does when he's sitting down, he's assessing the entire situation. He's already scanned the attackers, and that's a lot of the fight, right? A lot of the fight is you being able to see the entire picture really quickly, really fast, being able to assess the level of danger or threat, being able to assess your chances of survival, and figuring out, okay, what is my environment? Who do I take out first? Who has a weapon? Who might not have a weapon? What do I have as improvised weapons around me? So, I mean, guys, you know, and there's drills that you can work your awareness. People talk about it, but I've developed drills. There's drills for you to learn and train that awareness, because, I mean, your awareness is like a radar. You turn it on and you turn it off. You go from low to high, but you need to develop it, train it, and you also need to know, am I in code green, code green, code yellow, or code red? And when do I go from one to another? Can you maybe make a stream or video on how to develop drills, so we find out? Absolutely, man. I'll make a tactile sensitivity. It's basically the sticky hand concept, where you're just feeling your attacker. It's a Wing Chun principle where you're just, you know, able to feel the attacker at all time. Please talk about stupid martial arts. I agree with you, Nick. I never had a problem with that. Not personally. Half of a dozen fight I've been very these peers. Legality. I've always been the one to deliver the first blow. Usually the first blow. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, if you're gonna go preemptive and you're gonna do that first, the first strike, you also have to know that in legal terms, if you go preemptive, you know, the law more or less will go against you because you went preemptive, right? That's why we say, like, bring your hands up, talk to the guy. Anybody who sees this, that you try to diffuse it, and then you just got to prove that you know, he was going to I thought he was reaching for a weapon. I thought he was going to punch me. I saw him about to punch me. So again, when it comes to that, there's all these legal, you know, but there's so much in that. If you were to go to court, like, what happened? Does he have a criminal record? There's so many questions, and that's why we have the justice system. At the end, I tell people, you got to make a decision and tell yourself, you know, what do I need to do to survive? And again, am I with my son? Am I alone? Are they two? Do they have a weapon? How much is my life in danger right now? Right? I remember working at the club, and I had this, you know, this drunk homeless guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fight you." You know what I mean? I didn't, you know, I was like, here, I was ready, and I'm like, look, I really don't want to fight, and I'm talking to him. But if I turned around and I struck him in the throat, and I grabbed his head and I slammed it on a wall, it would be definitely excessive force, right? Because the guy, like, I remember the guy, he was drunk, he could barely stand. So you got to use your logic. I love my odds in court against a group of thugs or party. I have no convictions or charges or whatever. My military service record also speaks volumes. Well, again, Hans, these are things that you have to take in consideration as well, right? The court system is going to look at all of that together, right? And it's important for you to know that. But again, when you're in that moment, you have to make the best decision for yourself. Always walk away, guys. You don't know if the guy's got a knife. And let me tell you, I spent 2 days training with the defense tactics with the Boston police. We were doing full-out knife drills, knife scenarios. Let me tell you guys, defending against a knife in close quarter range, I don't care if you're a 16-year-old kid with a knife, you're just as lethal, as dangerous as the expert. All right? So you got to take, greetings from France, Nick. What's up, man? So you got to take these threats seriously, right? And you got to know that you could be, I've done drills, knife drills with, smaller attackers, and I go full out. I did it with Helen Stranzel, who's a stunt woman, and I knew she was going to attack me, and she came in like a wild animal, and I still got slashed and stabbed before I trapped it, because it's that hard. So again, keep your ego in check. Follow all the steps, right? And you want to build confidence, train. And you ask the questions about your conditioning, guys. Your engine is this and this, right? What your body could do and what your mind could do. That's your engine, right? So before you could pull off the techniques, the moves, right? Stack as much to your favor as possible that you could train your engine to be able to deliver and execute everything that you learn. Said already, there is a balance. You have to use your best judgment every single day. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And the best way to start building that, I remember when I used to work in clubs as a bouncer, we used to do a lot of scenario training, right? We used to do a lot of scenarios. And because we did a lot of scenarios, we actually would explore what worked, what didn't work. Not what worked and what didn't work in that moment, but why did I go after this guy instead of striking the second guy? Why did I fall? What did I do wrong? Why did I try that kick? That's what your scenario and your training is for. It's kind of it's a trial and error to find out what works and what doesn't work for you in the moment, right? And that's the best way. It doesn't mean that it won't work in the street. It just didn't work in that time. And you got to figure out, why didn't it work at that time? What did I do wrong? Did I rush a move or a technique? Did I force something and it wasn't made to happen yet? Like I wasn't in position to do that strike? Because people do get emotionally attached to certain strikes. They might have a really good kick and then they're going to force that kick when they're out of range because, hey, I could throw a good kick. But I tell people, and I did this with a Taekwondo champion, I'm like, you're not in kicking range. Why are you trying to kick? I know you have a good kick, but you're not in there right now. How would you keep a kid helpless from fighting? Would you use your tactics? Look, if I was with my son, again, the first thing is protect my son. Bring him behind, put a shield between me and my son. The second thing I'm going to do is like, okay, if I need to fight, if I feel that my life or his life is in danger, if they want my money, it's like, okay, man, here, go ahead, take it, right? Because I can't only think about how great I'm a fighter, but my objective first is to protect him and to make sure that he's safe. So for me to go pick a fight with 3-4 guys and one has a knife over my money while I'm with my son, I mean, that's where you got to look at the scenario. Now, they come to grab me or grab him, they're they're going to have to kill me. They're going to have to literally kill me for them to get through me. And that's part of the mindset. Right? That's part of the mindset. How do you develop your mindset? Through training, right? The more you train, the more you're going to develop your mindset. The more you train, through your training, you're building your confidence, you're building your mindset. There's visualization exercises, there's hypnosis that I do, there's things I tell myself as I'm training to build that mindset, right? And again, I'm training the mind, but I'm always training the body as well, right? Because I want to be strong. Visually, you want to stack as much as you can to your favor when it comes to self-defense, right? It's not gonna harm you. It's only gonna do you good to have speed and footwork and explosive power. When I'm teaching how to defend against a knife, right? And I'm saying, okay, you gotta trap the knife. You better have a strong grip. Absolutely, it's made people more aggressive. So you gotta have a strong grip. If you don't have a strong grip and I'm teaching you how to trap a knife, you're gonna lose the knife. So train your grip, and you're only as strong as your grip. Train your explosive power so you can move. When we're doing knife drills, you have to step in, step in. You have to explode. You have to work on being able to transfer your weight, stepping in every time. Would you still go preemptive because it could escalate things? Would you still go preemptive because it could escalate things? Because it could escalate things. It depends. It depends. Do I see him reaching for a knife? Did I see him angle off? Is he looking around, touching his face, trying to get close, and I think he's trying to sucker punch me? Yeah, I'm not going to wait for him to throw a strike. I'm going to go preemptive right away and strike him first. Right? I'm going to take him out. Again, here's the thing people ask me, Nick, what do? I don't know. At the end, I'm not there to tell you what to do or what not to do. All I can do is give you all the tools as best as I can, and then it's up to you to figure out, what am I gonna do? Which one do I need in this moment? People tell me, what's the first best strike? It depends. What's my first best opportunity? What do I have? Right? So I never wanna, there's no fixed technique or move or first strike. There's a lot of them. But it depends. If I tell you, oh yeah, the eyes are great, but he's wearing glasses. Oh, strike the throat. That's a first strike if he's wearing a jacket up to here. I tell people, do you train to slip and fall? It happens. I remember being in the club one time and I clinched with the guy. I'm throwing him out and the hat went right in my eyes. And I'm doing this, trying to pick up the hat with my shoulder. Okay, so this is shit that you figure out when you're training, especially in real life. Right? Working in the clubs taught me a lot about self-defense. I have no idea what a blackjack is, man. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to learn more self-defense, go visit my website, nickdrossos.com. I want to thank you guys for watching. There's only 23 people in here, and that's because YouTube has basically... but I keep making videos, guys. I love what I do. But all my new content moving forward is on my website, nickdrossos.com. Fight analysis, access to my seminars. My women's self-defense, I did a series with Helen. Helen did a series for me, with me. We have my instructor course next year. I have an instructor course, level 1. If you're interested, go check it out. As well, I'm doing level 1 and level 2. I'm also offering training online. So if you guys have any, love the website, thank you, my man. So if you guys share the video, subscribe, hit the bell, visit my website, nickdrossos.com. I want to thank you guys for watching. Stay safe and stand strong.